You know, there comes a moment in every person's life when the universe begins to shift things around for you. Not because you've done everything perfectly, not because you've figured it all out, but because you're finally ready. You're ready to receive what's been waiting for you all along. And here's what I want you to understand right from the start. When something big is about to come into your life, when God or the universe or whatever you choose to call that infinite intelligence is preparing to hand you something magnificent, there are signs, clear, unmistakable signs that most people miss because they're too busy looking in the wrong direction. The first sign that something extraordinary is coming your way is this. You begin to feel a strange sense of peace even when everything around you seems chaotic. Now this might sound backwards to you. You might think, well, shouldn't I feel excited? Shouldn't I feel energized? But what happens is much more profound than that. You start to feel this inner calm, this quiet knowing that everything is going to work out, even when your logical mind can't see how. Your bank account might be running low, your relationships might be challenging, your job situation might be uncertain, but somewhere inside you, there's this voice that says, it's all going to be okay, something better is coming. This peace isn't about being passive or giving up, it's about being aligned. When you're truly aligned with your higher purpose, when you're in sync with the flow of life, you stop resisting what is. You stop fighting against the current. And in that surrender, in that acceptance of the present moment, you create space for something new to enter. Think about it like this. If your hands are clenched tightly around what you're afraid to lose, how can you receive what's trying to come to you? You can't hold on and receive at the same time. That peace you're feeling is your soul's way of opening your hands, of preparing you to receive. Most people spend their entire lives in a state of anxiety, constantly worried about what might go wrong, constantly preparing for disaster. And you know what they get? Exactly what they're preparing for. But when you start to feel that peace, that calm assurance that transcends your circumstances, you're being prepared for elevation. You're being readied for the next level of your life. Don't dismiss that feeling. Don't think something's wrong with you because you're not panicking like everyone else. That peace is a sign that you're in tune with something greater than your circumstances. The second sign is that you'll start to notice patterns breaking in your life. Things that used to happen over and over again, cycles that you couldn't seem to escape, suddenly begin to shift. Maybe you've always attracted the same type of difficult relationship, and suddenly you find yourself no longer interested in that dynamic. Maybe you've always responded to stress by shutting down, and now you notice yourself handling challenges with a new level of maturity. Maybe you've always struggled with money, and now you're starting to see opportunities you never noticed before. These pattern breaks are crucial because they signal that your consciousness is shifting, and your consciousness is everything. Your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. When your inner world changes, when your beliefs about yourself and what's possible for you begin to transform, your outer world has no choice but to follow. It's law. It's how the universe works. You cannot maintain an elevated consciousness and continue to experience the same limited circumstances. It's impossible. But here's what happens to most people. They start to notice these pattern breaks, and they get scared. They think, this doesn't feel like me. This isn't who I am. And they pull themselves back into the old familiar patterns because familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar growth. Don't do that. When you notice patterns breaking, when you notice yourself responding differently to old triggers, when you notice opportunities appearing that match a higher version of yourself, lean into that. That's not you losing yourself. That's you finding yourself. The third sign that something big is coming is that you'll begin to experience what feels like loss. Now, stay with me on this because this is where most people get confused and discouraged. You might lose a job that you thought was your security. You might lose a relationship that you thought was your forever. You might lose friends who you thought would always be there. You might lose interest in activities that used to fill your time. And on the surface, this feels terrible. It feels like you're moving backwards, like everything's falling apart. But what's really happening is that you're being emptied out to make room for what's coming. The universe is removing what no longer serves your highest good. God is clearing the path. And I know that's hard to see when you're in the middle of it, when you're grieving what you've lost, when you're confused about why everything seems to be falling away. But you have to trust that what's leaving was blocking what's trying to arrive. Think of it like this. If you wanted to fill a cup with fresh, pure water, but that cup was already full of muddy water, what would you have to do first? You'd have to pour out the muddy water. You'd have to empty the cup. The emptying isn't the problem. The emptying is the preparation. And yes, There's a moment between the emptying and the filling when the cup is empty and it feels like you have nothing. That's the moment when most people panic. That's the moment when most people go running back to the muddy water saying, at least it was something. But if you can stand in that empty space, if you can trust the process, if you can know that the emptying is purposeful, then you position yourself to receive what's pure, what's meant for you, what's going to fill you up in a way that the old stuff never could. Every ending is making way for a new beginning. Every loss is creating space for a gain that's aligned with who you're becoming. The fourth sign is that you'll start feeling pulled toward things that don't make logical sense. You'll feel drawn to learn something new. You'll feel compelled to reach out to someone you haven't talked to in years. You'll feel guided to take a different route home from work. You'll feel urged to say yes to an invitation you'd normally decline. And your logical mind will say, why? What's the point? This doesn't fit into my plan. But something deeper in you knows that these impulses are significant. These are what I call divine nudges. They're your intuition speaking to you. They're the universe guiding you toward the connections, the knowledge, the experiences that are going to be essential for what's coming. But you have to be willing to follow them even when they don't make sense, especially when they don't make sense. Because the logical mind can only work with what it already knows. It can only create more of what already is. But your intuition is connected to a higher intelligence that can see the bigger picture, that knows what's around corners you haven't turned yet. Most people ignore these nudges. They talk themselves out of acting on them. They say, that's silly, that's random, that's not practical. And then 5 years later they look back and say, if only I had followed that feeling, if only I had made that call, if only I had taken that class. Don't be that person. When you feel those pulls, those promptings, those gentle urgings towards something that your mind can't explain, honor them, act on them, trust them. They're breadcrumbs leading you to your blessing. The fifth sign is that you'll start to see synchronicities multiply in your life. You'll think of someone and they'll call you. You'll need specific information and it'll show up in a conversation you overhear. You'll be struggling with a question and the answer will appear on a billboard. You'll meet someone randomly who turns out to have exactly what you need. These aren't coincidences. There's no such thing as coincidence. These are confirmations that you're on the right path, that you're aligned, that the universe is orchestrating things on your behalf. When synchronicities start happening frequently, it means you're in flow. It means the veil between the physical and the spiritual is thin for you right now. It means you're paying attention. Most people experience synchronicities all the time, but they dismiss them. They think, oh, that's weird, and then they move on. But when you're being prepared for something big, you start to notice them. You start to recognize them as the signposts they are. You start to see that you're being communicated with, that you're being guided, that you're not alone in this process. Pay attention to the synchronicities. Write them down. Acknowledge them. Thank the universe for them. Because when you give attention to these signs, when you recognize them and appreciate them, you signal to the universe that you're awake, that you're aware, that you're ready to receive more. And the more you acknowledge, the more you'll receive. It's a beautiful cycle of communication between you and the infinite intelligence that's always working in your favor. The sixth sign is that you'll face increasing challenges that seem designed to test you. Right before your breakthrough, you'll often face your biggest breakdown. Right before you level up, you'll face obstacles that make you want to quit. And this isn't the universe being cruel. This isn't God abandoning you. This is the final test. This is the refinement process. This is life. Asking you, are you really ready for what you've been asking for? Are you really committed to your growth? Will you keep going even when it gets hard? See, when something big is about to come into your life, you have to become the person who can handle it. You have to develop the strength, the character, the resilience, the faith that matches the size of the blessing. And that development doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in challenge. It happens when you're pushed to your limits and you have to reach inside yourself for resources you didn't know you had. It happens when you want to quit, but you choose to keep going. It happens when everything looks impossible, but you decide to believe anyway. These challenges aren't obstacles to your blessing. They're preparation for it. They're building your capacity. They're expanding your consciousness. They're proving to you, not to the universe, but to yourself, that you're ready, because the blessing that's coming is going to require a version of you that can sustain it, that can steward it wisely, that can handle the responsibility and the visibility and the influence that comes with it. So when things get harder before they get better, don't think you're going in the wrong direction. Don't think your prayers aren't being answered. understand that you're in the final stretch. Understand that you're being strengthened for what's ahead. And most importantly, don't quit. Don't give up right before your miracle. More people quit 5 feet from gold than at any other point in the process. They make it through so much, they endure so much, they grow so much, and then when the final test comes, when the pressure intensifies right before the breakthrough, they say, I can't do this anymore, and they walk away from everything they've been building toward. The 7th sign, and this is the most beautiful one, is that you'll start to feel yourself changing from the inside out. Not in a way that makes you someone else, but in a way that makes you more fully yourself. You'll notice that things that used to bother you don't bother you anymore. You'll notice that you're less reactive, more responsive. You'll notice that you're less concerned with what others think and more aligned with what you know is true for you. You'll notice that your definition of success is changing, that your priorities are shifting, that what you value is evolving. This internal transformation is the most reliable sign that something big is coming, because your outer world can only expand to the size of your inner world. If your inner world is limited by fear, doubt, and old programming, your outer world will reflect that limitation. But when your inner world begins to expand, when you begin to see yourself differently, when you begin to believe different things are possible for you, when you begin to operate from a place of worthiness rather than a place of lack, your outer world has to expand to match it. It's not optional. It's law. And here's what I really want you to understand about this internal transformation. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about releasing everything you're not so that who you truly are can emerge. You came into this world as a spiritual being, as an extension of the divine, as a piece of God itself. But over the years, you took on layers of conditioning, layers of fear, layers of false beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of. And this transformation that you're experiencing is simply the shedding of those false layers. It's the remembering of your true nature. It's the awakening to your infinite potential. When you start to feel this shift inside yourself, when you start to recognize that you're not the same person you were 6 months ago or a year ago, when you start to notice that your thoughts are different, your energy is different, your responses are different, celebrate that, honor that, protect that, because that internal shift is the foundation upon which your external blessing will be built. Without the internal shift, the external blessing wouldn't last. It would be like building a mansion on sand. But with the internal shift, with the solid foundation of your transformed consciousness, anything that comes to you will be sustainable, will be meaningful, will be exactly what you're meant to have. Now, here's what I want you to do with this information. I want you to look at your life right now and honestly assess whether you're experiencing these signs. Are you feeling an unusual sense of peace despite your circumstances? Are patterns breaking in your life? Are you experiencing loss or endings that are clearing space? Are you being pulled toward things that don't make logical sense? Are you noticing synchronicities? Are you facing challenges that are testing your resolve? Are you feeling yourself transform from within? If you're experiencing even 1 or 2 of these signs, something is shifting for you. If you're experiencing several of them, something big is absolutely on its way. And if you're experiencing all of them, you're right on the edge of a major breakthrough. But here's the key. You have to cooperate with the process. You have to trust it. You have to stay in faith even when you can't see the full picture yet. Too many people experience these signs and they sabotage themselves. They feel the peace and they think something's wrong because they're used to anxiety. They notice the pattern breaks and they pull themselves back into the old familiar patterns. They experience the loss and they fight to hold on to what's leaving. They feel the nudges and they ignore them because they don't make logical sense. They see the synchronicities and they dismiss them as random. They face the challenges and they quit. They feel themselves changing and they resist it because it's uncomfortable. Don't do that. When you recognize these signs in your life, lean into them. Cooperate with them. Trust that something bigger than your conscious mind is working on your behalf. Trust that you're being prepared for something that your current consciousness can't even fully conceive of yet. Trust that the universe knows what it's doing, that God has a plan, that everything is unfolding in perfect timing. And while you're in this preparation phase, while you're experiencing these signs, there are some things you need to do. First, you need to maintain your faith, not just when things are going well, but especially when they're not. Faith isn't needed when you can see the outcome. Faith is needed when you can't see it yet, but you trust it's coming anyway. Your faith is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you're going. Your faith is what keeps you in the game when your circumstances are telling you to quit. Your faith is what allows the universe to work miracles on your behalf. Second, you need to do the inner work. You can't just sit around waiting for your blessing to fall from the sky. You have to prepare yourself to receive it. You have to work on your mindset, your beliefs, your emotional patterns, your habits. You have to clear out the old programming that's been keeping you small. You have to release the fears and doubts that have been blocking your good. You have to forgive the people who have hurt you, because holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting them to die. You have to love yourself enough to believe that you're worthy of receiving everything you desire. Third, you need to take inspired action. When you feel those nudges, follow them. When you see an opportunity, move toward it. When you're guided to do something, do it. Don't sit around being passive and spiritual, waiting for everything to be done for you. The universe meets you halfway. It responds to your movement. It supports your action. But you have to be willing to step out in faith, to take risks, to do things that scare you, to move before you have all the answers. Fourth, you need to surround yourself with the right energy. The people you spend time with matter. The content you consume matters. The conversations you engage in matter. If you're surrounded by people who are negative, who are doubting, who are stuck in victim consciousness, that energy is going to affect you. It's going to pull you down. It's going to make it harder for you to maintain your faith and your vision. But if you surround yourself with people who are growing, who are positive, who are committed to their own evolution, that energy is going to lift you up. It's going to support you. It's going to make the journey easier. Fifth, you need to practice gratitude right now for what you already have and for what's coming. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations you can operate from. When you're grateful, you signal to the universe that you recognize the abundance that already exists in your life. And the universe says, oh, you appreciate what you have? Here, have more. Gratitude also shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. It takes you out of lack consciousness and puts you into abundance consciousness. And you cannot receive abundance from a place of lack. You can only receive abundance from a place of recognizing abundance. So be grateful for the signs you're seeing. Be grateful for the challenges you're facing because they're making you stronger. Be grateful for the losses you're experiencing because they're clearing the way. Be grateful for the peace you're feeling, the synchronicities you're noticing, the transformation you're undergoing. And be grateful in advance for what's coming. Thank the universe now for the blessing that's on its way. Feel the feeling of having already received it. Live from that place of gratitude and expectation. Sixth, you need to release attachment to how it's supposed to happen. You can know what you want. You can be clear about your desires, but you have to be willing to release control over the specific path by which it comes to you. The universe has a much bigger perspective than you do. It can see opportunities and possibilities that you can't see yet. It can orchestrate circumstances in ways that your limited mind could never plan. But it can only do that if you're willing to let go of your rigid ideas about how things should unfold. Maybe you think your blessing is going to come through your job, but the universe has a completely different avenue planned. Maybe you think it's going to look one way, but it's actually going to look completely different and far better than you imagined. Maybe you think it's going to happen on your timeline, but the universe has a different timeline that's actually more perfect. If you're attached to the how, you'll miss the actual blessing when it shows up because it won't match your expectations. So hold your vision, but hold it loosely. Be clear about what you want, but be flexible about how it comes. Trust that the universe knows the best path, the right timing, the perfect method. Your job is to stay aligned, to do your part, to keep your vibration high, to follow the guidance you receive. The universe's job is to handle the details of the delivery. And finally, you need to stay in the present moment. Don't spend all your time thinking about the future, about when your blessing is going to come, about what it's going to look like when it gets here. Because when you're always in the future, you miss the present. And the present is where your power is. The present is where your guidance is. The present is where your action needs to happen. The present is where the signs are showing up. If you're constantly ahead of yourself, constantly living in tomorrow, you'll miss the breadcrumbs that are being laid out for you today. You'll miss the person you're supposed to meet today. You'll miss the opportunity that's available to you today. You'll miss the lesson that's being offered to you today. And then you'll wonder why things aren't moving faster, why your blessing isn't here yet, when really you've been missing all the steps that are leading to it. So be here now. Be present with what is. Engage fully with this moment. Do what's in front of you to do. Handle what's in front of you to handle. And trust that each moment is preparing you for the next moment. that each day is leading you to the next day, that everything is building toward the manifestation of what you've been calling in. Now, I want to address something that might be coming up for you as you're hearing all of this. You might be thinking, but what if I've been experiencing these signs for a while and nothing's happened yet? What if I've been doing all the right things and my blessing still hasn't shown up? Does that mean I'm doing something wrong? Does that mean it's not coming? No, it doesn't mean that at all. What it means is that you're still in the preparation phase. What it means is that there's still some internal work to be done, some more growth that needs to happen, some additional pieces that need to fall into place before you're ready to receive what's coming. And I know that's frustrating. I know you want it now. I know you feel like you've been waiting forever. But the universe's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't match your desired timing. Think about it like this. If you planted a seed in the ground and then dug it up every day to see if it was growing yet, you'd actually prevent it from growing. The seed needs time in the darkness. It needs time to establish roots. It needs time to develop underground before anything becomes visible above ground. And your blessing is the same way. There's a process happening that you can't see yet. There's development occurring beneath the surface. There are roots being established, strength being built, connections being made, circumstances being arranged. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because it hasn't manifested yet doesn't mean it's not on its way. The seed is growing. Your blessing is forming. And if you just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you just keep showing up, keep maintaining your faith, keep doing your inner work, keep taking inspired action, keep staying in the present moment, one day you're going to wake up and that seed is going to have broken through the surface. That blessing is going to be right there in front of you. And you're going to look back and realize that every single day of waiting was necessary, that every challenge was preparation, that every sign you saw along the way was real. And here's something else I want you to understand. The blessing that's coming to you isn't just for you. It's also for the people your life is going to touch. It's for the work you're going to do in the world. It's for the purpose you're going to fulfill. That's why the preparation is so thorough. That's why the timing has to be just right. Because what you're being prepared to receive isn't just about your personal benefit. It's about the impact you're going to make, the lives you're going to change, the light you're going to bring to the world. When Moses was being prepared to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. 40 years. Can you think about that? 40 years of preparation for his purpose. And I'm sure there were days when he wondered if it was ever going to happen, if he'd heard wrong, if he'd misunderstood the signs. But all of that time was necessary to transform him from a prince of Egypt into a servant of God, to build in him the humility, the strength, the faith, the character that he would need to lead millions of people through the desert. Your preparation might not be 40 years. It might be 40 days or 40 months. But whatever the duration, trust that it's exactly what's needed. Trust that you're being shaped and molded and refined for something specific. Trust that when the time is right, when you're ready, when all the pieces are in place, your blessing is going to come. And it's going to be worth every moment you waited for it. So as you go forward from here, I want you to do something for me. I want you to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to trust the process, that you're not going to give up, that you're not going to let discouragement or impatience or fear convince you to settle for less than what's meant for you, that you're going to keep your faith strong, your vibration high, your eyes open for the signs. I want you to commit to doing the inner work even when it's uncomfortable, even when it means facing parts of yourself you'd rather avoid, even when it means letting go of beliefs and patterns that have been with you for years. Because that inner work is the price of admission to your next level. You can't skip it. You can't shortcut it. You have to go through it. I want you to commit to taking inspired action, to following those nudges, to saying yes when you feel pulled towards something, to stepping out in faith even when you don't have all the answers. Because your blessing is on the other side of your action. The universe can't drive a parked car. You have to be moving for it to steer you in the right direction. I want you to commit to surrounding yourself with positive energy, to being selective about who you spend time with, to consuming content that uplifts and inspires you rather than content that drains and discourages you. Because your environment shapes your consciousness, and your consciousness creates your reality. I want you to commit to practicing gratitude every single day, to acknowledging the good that's already in your life, to appreciating the signs you're seeing, to giving thanks in advance for what's coming. Because gratitude is the magnet that attracts more good into your experience. I want you to commit to releasing control, to surrendering your need to know exactly how and when everything is going to unfold. to trusting that the universe has a plan that's better than anything you could devise on your own. Because your limited perspective can't see what infinite intelligence can see. And I want you to commit to staying present, to being here now, to engaging fully with this moment and this day, to doing what's in front of you, to do with excellence and attention. Because this moment is all you ever have, and this moment is where your power lives. If you make these commitments and you keep them, if you honor the signs you're seeing and cooperate with the process you're in, something big is absolutely coming for you. Not because I'm saying it, but because that's how the universe works. That's the law of cause and effect. That's the law of attraction. That's the law of alignment. When you align yourself with the flow of life, when you raise your consciousness to match what you're calling in, when you become the person who's ready to receive what you've been asking for, the universe has no choice but to deliver it to you. Your blessing is coming. Your breakthrough is coming. Your elevation is coming. And when it arrives, you're going to look back at this time and you're going to understand why everything happened the way it did. You're going to see how every challenge was necessary, how every loss cleared the way, how every sign was real, how every moment of waiting was building something in you that you couldn't have had any other way. So don't give up. Don't quit. Don't settle. Don't let doubt convince you that what you're feeling isn't real. You're experiencing these signs for a reason. You're going through this preparation for a purpose. You're being transformed because transformation is required for what's next. Trust that. Believe that. Know that. And in the meantime, while you're waiting, while you're preparing, while you're growing, be the best version of yourself that you can be right now. Don't postpone your happiness until your blessing arrives. Don't put your life on hold until things are perfect. Be joyful now. Be peaceful now. Be loving now. Be generous now. Be kind now. Be present now. Because the quality of your waiting determines the quality of your receiving. If you wait in misery, in doubt, in fear, in anxiety, you're actually pushing away what you're trying to attract. But if you wait in faith, in peace, in joy, in gratitude, in expectation, you're magnetizing your blessing to you. You're speeding up the process. You're aligning yourself with its arrival. So make the decision right now that you're going to wait well, that you're going to use this time wisely, that you're going to become the person you need to be, that you're going to do the work you need to do, that you're going to trust the process you're in, that you're going to recognize and honor the signs you're seeing. Because something big is coming. Something amazing is on its way. Something that's going to change your life, that's going to elevate you, that's going to fulfill you, that's going to allow you to step into your purpose and live the life you were meant to live. It's coming. And when it gets here, you're going to be ready for it. You're going to be worthy of it. You're going to be able to sustain it because you will have done the work. You will have maintained the faith. You will have trusted the process. Your time is coming. Your season is approaching. Your blessing is forming. And nothing can stop what God has ordained for you. Nothing can prevent what the universe has already set in motion. Nothing can block what you've aligned yourself to receive. It's done. It's already done in the spiritual realm. Now it's just a matter of time before it manifests in the physical realm. And that time is closer than you think. So stand firm. Stay strong. Keep believing. Keep growing. Keep moving forward. Keep your eyes open for the signs. And know, without a shadow of doubt, that your breakthrough is coming. Your blessing is coming. Your elevation is coming. And it's going to be bigger and better than anything you could have imagined for yourself. Because when God gives you something, when the universe delivers to you, it's always exceedingly, abundantly above all that you could ask or think. That's the promise. That's the truth. That's what's coming for you. So receive it, believe it, live from it, and watch as everything in your life begins to shift to match the truth of who you really are and what you're really here to do. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your blessing is coming. And you are ready